He thought he was giving his father a better life, until one phone call made him wish he could take it all back. Robert Hayes was never a man of wealth, but he was a man of unshakable purpose. Every morning, before the sun even rose, he would quietly step out of his small, worn-out house in a forgotten neighborhood of Ohio. The streets were silent, cold, and empty, but Robert never complained. He had learned long ago that comfort was not for him. It was for his son. During the day, he worked at a construction site. His hands were rough, covered in cracks and dust, his back always aching from lifting heavy steel and bricks. The sun burned his skin in the summer, and the wind cut through his bones in the winter. But he never stopped, because every brick he lifted, he imagined it building a future for Daniel. At night, when most people were asleep, Robert changed his clothes in silence and went straight to another job, a janitor in a large office building. He cleaned floors that others walked over without a second thought. He emptied trash bins filled with waste from people who would never know his name. He wiped glass doors that reflected a man no one truly saw. But Robert didn't care about being seen. He cared about one thing: his son sleeping safely at home. Daniel, his son, never understood this life. To him, his father was always tired, always absent, always busy. He saw other kids with new clothes, expensive toys, and perfect lives, and slowly, without even realizing it, he began to feel something dangerous: embarrassment. He never asked his father what he went through. He never looked deeper than what was missing in his own life. Not once did he notice the cracked hands that held his future together. Not once did he understand the silent suffering behind every meal placed on the table. But Robert never demanded gratitude. He never asked for appreciation. Every night when he came home exhausted, he would gently sit beside Daniel's bed. His body was tired, his eyes heavy, but his voice always stayed warm, and he would say the same words like a promise spoken to the universe. "One day, you'll live a life I never could." Daniel would sometimes nod without understanding. Sometimes he wouldn't even respond. But Robert would still smile, because for him, love was never about being noticed. It was about sacrifice, even if it stayed invisible forever. And as Robert turned off the lights each night, standing quietly in the dark hallway, he never thought about his pain. He only thought about one future, a future where his son would never have to live the life he was living. And that was the tragedy. He was building a dream for someone who had not yet learned how to see the sacrifice behind it. Years passed, and life slowly began to change for Daniel Hayes. The boy who once grew up in a small, modest home with a tired, overworked father was no longer that boy. He had become a young man the world admired, smart, confident, and successful. From the outside, Daniel looked like a complete success story. But inside, something had already started shifting long before anyone noticed. Daniel worked hard, there was no doubt about that. He studied late into the night, pushed through pressure, and climbed faster than most people around him. Soon, he landed a high-paying job in a big city company. Glass buildings, clean offices, expensive suits, and a fast-moving lifestyle became his new reality. Everything he once dreamed of was finally within reach. But slowly, without realizing it, his world began to shrink around success. Not family, not memories, just achievement. At first, Daniel still called his father. The conversations were short, rushed, and distracted. His voice always carried the same line. "Yeah, Dad, I'm fine, just busy with work. I'll come visit soon." But soon kept turning into weeks, then months, and eventually excuses he barely questioned. Robert never complained. He always answered the phone quickly, as if he had been waiting for that call all day. His voice was always soft, always warm. "Are you eating well, son? Take care of yourself. Don't overwork." He never asked for anything in return, not even time.
In the city, Daniel's life became louder but emptier. Meetings, promotions, targets, and deadlines filled every corner of his days. Every achievement brought applause, but no real peace. Still, he kept telling himself, this is what success looks like, slowly convincing himself that distance from home was just part of growing up. Then, something subtle changed. He stopped sharing small things, stopped asking about his father's day, stopped thinking about the house he once called home. It wasn't cruelty, it was distraction, a life moving too fast to look back. And every time his phone lit up with his father's name, he felt a strange mix of guilt and inconvenience, not because he didn't love him, but because he no longer made time for that love. Meanwhile, Robert's life never changed. Same house, same routine, same tired body. But one thing remained constant. He waited. Every evening, he would sit near the door after work, just in case Daniel called. Sometimes he would fall asleep there, phone still in his hand, not because he expected much, but because hope becomes a habit when sacrifice defines your life. What Daniel never realized was this: while he was building a future, his father was quietly fading into the background of it. Not physically, but emotionally. Step by step, missed call by missed call, forgotten moment by forgotten moment, Robert was turning from a presence into a memory. And yet, Robert never made him feel guilty, never said he was forgotten, never asked why he didn't visit. He only ever repeated the same gentle words every time they spoke. "I'm proud of you, son." Even while being left behind, he still chose pride over pain. And that was the silent tragedy, a father who gave everything, slowly learning how to live with less and less of his son.
One day, Daniel made what he called a practical choice. He convinced himself it wasn't abandonment, just responsibility, something necessary, something right. In his mind, his father would be safer there, cared for, surrounded by people his age. So he brought Robert to an old age home. The place was quiet, clean, and unfamiliar. Too quiet, like it had forgotten how family sounds. Robert stood beside him with a small bag in his hand, everything he owned reduced to a few simple belongings. Daniel spoke quickly, avoiding his father's eyes. "It's better for you here. You'll have care, people around you." But he couldn't look at him while saying it, not properly. Robert didn't argue. He didn't ask why. He simply looked at his son, calm, steady, accepting in a way that felt heavier than anger. Then, softly, he said, "I hope you never feel alone, like this." Daniel gave a small nod, but his mind was already elsewhere. Work, life, everything waiting outside this moment. He turned and walked away without looking back, and Robert stood there, quietly, watching him leave, as the space between them became permanent. Days passed, and life slowly swallowed Daniel again. Work filled every corner of his world. Meetings, deadlines, notifications he kept promising to answer later. His father's voice became something he told himself he would get to soon. Until one night, his phone rang. The number wasn't saved with a name that mattered in that moment, just a familiar care center ID. He answered without much thought. "Hello? This is the care center." A pause. Then the words came, slower, heavier. "Your father has been asking for you." For the first time, Daniel didn't respond immediately. Something in his chest tightened, small, uneasy, ignored. He finally spoke, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'll come this weekend." Silence on the other end. Then the voice changed, softer, almost careful. "I don't think he has that much time." And in that moment, the world didn't stop. But something inside Daniel did. Because suddenly, all the laters he had collected over the years felt like they were collapsing into one unbearable truth. There might not be a later anymore. Daniel rushed to the care center without thinking, his heart beating faster with every second, each breath heavier than the last. When he reached the room, everything felt unnaturally still, like the air itself had stopped moving. His father lay there, fragile, weak, almost fading into the silence around him. No words were spoken, only quiet. Beside the bed was a small box, carefully kept, as if it held pieces of a life that mattered more than anything else in that room. Daniel's shaking hands opened it slowly. Inside were things he had long forgotten, childhood drawings he never thought anyone had saved, old school certificates he never cared to show, faded birthday photos where his father was smiling, always smiling, even in the background of a life that kept pulling him away. And then, a letter. His hands trembled as he unfolded it. The words weren't angry, they weren't bitter, they were gentle, almost painfully gentle. I know I wasn't perfect, but every day I tried to be enough for you. Even when you stopped coming, I waited. Not because I was alone, but because you were my home. Something inside Daniel broke in silence. Tears didn't come as a reaction. They came as a realization. For the first time in years, he didn't just look at his father. He saw him. And in that moment, the weight of every missed call, every postponed visit, every later he never kept, came crashing down at once. Daniel fell to his knees beside the bed, holding his father's hand like he was trying to pull time back with it. His voice broke as he repeated the words again and again, quieter each time, more desperate each time. "Dad, I'm here. Please, I'm sorry." But Robert didn't move. No answer came. No squeeze of the hand. No familiar voice saying, "It's okay, son." Only silence. A silence so heavy, it felt like it was pressing down on Daniel's chest, making it hard to breathe. He kept holding on anyway, as if holding tighter could somehow undo everything, as if love at the very last second could rewrite years of distance. But life doesn't work like that. The room didn't feel like a place anymore. It felt like a memory that had already ended. And in that stillness, Daniel finally understood something he had spent his whole life avoiding. Some hearts wait their entire life to be seen, and some moments arrive only after they are gone. His father's hand was still warm, but the silence between them had changed everything. And for Daniel, the loudest thing in that room wasn't the machines. It was regret. Because regret doesn't scream. It stays quiet and never leaves. He spent his whole life chasing success. Every late night, every sacrifice, every promotion he once celebrated alone suddenly felt meaningless in that silent room. Because standing there now, holding his father's still hand, Daniel understood the cruel truth he had ignored for years. Success had given him everything he wanted, except the one thing that actually mattered. He had built a life big enough for the world to admire, yet too small to hold the man who built him. The certificates, the money, the status, none of it could answer him now. None of it could bring back the missed calls, the ignored visits, the "I'll come later" promises that never turned into "I came." His father had spent his entire life saying, "I'm proud of you," even when he was slowly being forgotten. And Daniel had spent his entire life thinking there would always be more time. Now, there wasn't. The room felt emptier than any success he had ever achieved felt full. And in that unbearable silence, he finally realized he didn't just lose his father that day. He lost the only person who ever truly believed in him without conditions. And that realization didn't break his heart in one moment. it broke it for the rest of his life.
This story made you feel something. Doesn't scroll away. Subscribe to Hidden Tear for more emotional stories that stay with you long after the end. Because sometimes the deepest tears are the ones no one sees. Turn on notifications. You never know when the next story will break your heart again.